Hello, welcome to another episode of Mega Manga Monday. I am Jason Hahn, and today we are talking about Boruto Chapter 71. Um, Not sure if this one had an official title or not, but things are kicking off. We left at quite the cliffhanger. I found the title. It's called Hindrance. And we definitely got into the meaning of that word in this chapter, but I'm not going to just rant about it all by myself. I'm a writer for Screen Rant. I happen to write video game news, and I'm a huge manga fan, and I happen to get a couple other Screen Rant buddies who are also huge into manga, and very anxious to talk about this chapter of Boruto. But I'll go and let them introduce themselves. Todd, how you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm doing great, Jason. Yeah, I'm Todd. I write for the comic side of Screen Rant. I'm very big in the manga, very big in the Marvel comics. I gotta say, Naruto is one of the things that has like kickstarted not just like my love of manga, but like it's taught me a lot about myself and life in the world. So I'm just happy to be here to talk about it.
Well, hell yeah, man. Naruto is also one of my favorite series. I just kind of grew up reading it week to week, and it's almost like Sesame Street for adults. it's, there's a lot of great life lessons in it to be taken, and also lots of cool ninja fighting. But Steven, how are you, man?
Yeah, good. Yeah, my name is Steven. I write for the comic side of Screen Rant, mostly focusing on manga, like Shonen Jump titles, but also delving into other things like Sonic, Transformers, and Beast Wars. But yeah, excited to talk about Boruto.
Yeah, I know you're also very excited to talk about new Berserk chapters. We'll probably be doing a Berserk chat sometime soon, but
Yeah, I'm leaving that for the end where we talk about recommendations.
okay.
It's because if we talk about it now, we'll never get to
To
Boruto.
Boruto, yeah. Well, yeah, I really enjoyed this chapter. It felt really intense just because, I mean, Amando isn't necessarily one of my favorite characters or anything like that. I definitely enjoy the hyper intelligent characters, but for me, Shikimaru still fits that role for me. Amando, just, we consistently don't know what his plan is and what where his he's just a very untrustworthy dude, and that was in full display in this chapter where he somehow convinced Ida to let him survive, and not somehow, we got it broken down pretty well. And but really, it's just this chapter continued to do something that I feel like this arc has struggled to do, is make code intimidating, because he got this supposedly ridiculous power up recently, and the first thing they do is have him get whooped up by Damon. And it's just really hard to like be afraid of code when every chance he's thrown into a battle or something, he gets beaten or outsmarted.
Yeah, it was a letdown for me. I gotta say.
Yeah, same
For
for. I mean, I like Damon, and I think they're building him up to be quite scary, but I feel like we should be fearing Code more at this point.
Yeah.
Actually, I
Uh,
mean, in regards to code, like that isn't what bothered me about this chapter. Like I'm fine with that whole dynamic, much more incredible. What my problem is, and I wrote a article about it a little while ago, is that his sudden turn when she decided to like, I'm done working with you type of deal. Like his reaction just felt too over the top for me, where to the point where it's like I love that it happened, but it's just the fact that I don't feel like the writers were building up to that moment enough that it kind of felt like it came out of left field. Like we know that, Code is has obviously been under Aida's influence,
Hmm.
you know, but he's only really he's barely even talked about how he's feeling. Like when he first meets Aida, he's like, "There's definitely something wrong here. Like what
Right.
I'm feeling. What is this?" And she explains it. But I mean, other than that, and his inability to attack her, he hasn't really actually expressed himself. Like and all the times like when Aida's been like getting excited about going to see Kawaki or things like that, whether it's Shikamaru or Amando in this instance, like all of the times where he's showing frustration isn't because didn't seem like it's because he was in love with her, but because it's like, dude, you're an important part of my plan. Don't skip out on me. But then all of a sudden here he's like, but I love you. And it's like, wait,
Yeah.
what? And then he's later like, oh, and now I'm gonna devote my time to find out if I truly have these feelings for you. It's like that would have been great if it built up to that, but it was just like, wait, that's what you're feeling? Oh, okay. Like I'm hopefully gonna get to the point where when further chapters come out, like I'll forget about this kind of thing. But it just
Hopefully
felt
not.
like it wasn't built up enough. Like it just didn't feel natural.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on that, Todd? Because I definitely have some stuff to say.
I don't know. It's just like the whole idea of it, like turning into like a romance thing. I'm with Steven. Like I feel like it would have been cool if it like built up to that, but I feel like it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like Code had no affection, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, towards Ada until he met her. So I
Mhm.
feel like it's pretty obvious that it's just Ada's power affecting him.
Yeah, I mean, even like if we even had a couple panels of like back when they were fighting, or when Code was fighting, just even the idea of Ida like showing up and be like, don't you dare touch her, or just even a couple panels of
Yeah.
like him legitimately showing concern, or I think it would have been adorable if we had Code like his cheeks get blushy and he's just like, oh my god, Ida, you're so cute, like kind of how Delta reacted, even if we just got an inkling of that from Code. Otherwise, this is what happened. Like, it just felt like a sudden shift, and he's just suddenly being a whiny teenager, and it's just weird. Like, as soon as he gets his powers and accomplishes his goal of having his stuff unlocked, now he's just like, oh, now Ida doesn't like me, and you're like, oh, dude, come on, you're supposed to be somebody like. Even in this chapter, Damon's just like, "Oh, you seem stronger than Ishin, but you're." I did love that line Damon said, just something along the lines of like, "I don't care who's second or third, doesn't matter to me. Number one." Like, I love the drip Damon's consistently throwing, um, and I I mean, I like Code's design too. I think it's not Kishimoto who's necessarily drawing and coming up with the concepts and stuff, but I really enjoy the design and the look of a lot of these characters. But I just feel like that has almost become the focus, rather than action. Is having really style, like all these characters just feel, I don't want to say overly stylized, but it's like getting into JoJo territory for me, where it seems like
Yeah.
the guy's almost like more focused on having like really stylish stances and costumes and just like kind of doing the art there rather than using it to tell a story. There's a lot of times where I don't feel like Boruto is focused on where it should be or where I
Yeah, I
want it
feel
to be.
like the pacing for everything is just way too fast.
Oh, it's so random. Like I remember
Yeah.
a couple chapters ago too, just there was almost like six chapters of just nothing happening, and then or of not necessarily nothing happening, but them just like talking about Code and recovering from their fight with Ishin, and then suddenly Code's in the village and bam, fight. And even when the fights are going on, it's just so much happening so quickly. It's so fast. I think, yeah, the pacing has been very all over the place. I think especially after Ishin's defeat.
Yeah, and kind of, I don't want to change the subject too much, but on something you were mentioning before, Jason, how Code's becoming, like a whiny teenager. Like again, I would have been completely fine with that had it been, built up. Like I like the idea of like he's supposed to be this incredibly, formidable, more powerful Ishin than like like anyone before, and but he's reduced to this whiny teenager. Like that's actually pretty compelling. It's just the fact, for me at least, it just came out of nowhere.
Hmm.
Like
Well,
would you have been fine with him being a whiny teenager if it built up to that, or do you just not, or do you think it's just was just a step too far, even if they did write it better?
I think it still would have had the issue of us trying to feel like he's a valid threat or intimidating, even if they properly led up to the Ida temper tantrum that he's throwing. Um,
Temper
but
tantrum. That's a good way of saying.
but I feel like, I mean, it's still getting the story to the right point because especially at the end of the chapter, Code is just mad at everything and he's devoting all that hatred to Kawaki. So I'm hoping what happens next is he goes and just demonstrates why he is to be feared right now,
Yeah.
because he's not scary at all right now. He was just
I
beaten
guess
up by
Yeah.
a child.
yeah, I guess my whole thing. Yeah, I guess my whole thing is that I'm just so solely focused on Aida that I'm just like, yeah, Code is he a big deal or not? Doesn't really bother me.
It's almost like her
So,
powers have transcended the manga pages and have affected you.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
because I am in love, man. I am leaving my wife.
I'm getting a pillow and it's gonna have a picture of Aida on it.
But no, my wife's already aware that about my whole thing with it and Sonic Sally Acorn. That's who I would leave her for if Sally somehow became real.
Oh boy.
And then the other day, well, we're going off topic, but like, but she like confused Sally with Amy Rose, and we almost got a divorce over that. No,
Oh my gosh.
no, just kidding. But yeah,
I can't believe she did that. Oh my god.
Dad.
Yeah. I have friends, they're on my side. Anyway, yeah, Aida's cool. I really like the idea that I mean, Shikimaru kind of is the one that came up with the clutch idea of like gracefully inviting her to Konoha, and I'm incredibly excited to see if that goes off without a hitch. If Ida and Damon just walk up to Konoha, they're just like, "Oh, hi everybody! I guess we're just gonna live here now," and it's kind of feeding into what you wanted the series to evolve into. Steven, you want
Yeah,
all the characters that we've grown up with Naruto to struggle with their identities and their devotion to their significant others by Aida
yeah,
moving in and
yeah. Like,
having
I
to struggle
mean,
with her powers.
like when that happened, when like Amando brought it up, and she was like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." I like my jaw literally hit the floor. Like I was, like that was like the type of thing where it's like I would have wanted that to happen. That's what I wanted. It's like that's never gonna happen. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh man, that was a great moment that I never would have expected in 1,000 years to happen. But I'm glad that it is happening.
No, and if Kishimoto and Aikimoto are listening, thank you. Thanks for listening. They might be getting ideas.
An honor.
Yeah, it's an honor. Thank you for everything you've done. And,
We're not worthy.
we're not worthy, but yeah, I'm just incredibly excited at the idea of like if Aida and Damon just seamlessly mold into Konoha and Damon's like helping train students and like, and then Code just shows up to wreck shop. It's just what this chapter successfully did is it broke up exactly what Aida gave Amando credit for. She's just like, wow, you just survived that ordeal while breaking us up. So congratulations. So
The
now
new
we
talk no jutsu.
yes, he spent enough time with Naruto and developed some extra talk ninjutsu skills. But now we have these. Now we have two separate parties, both wanting to converge on Konoha, and it'll be interesting to see who gets there first. I mean, Code obviously has the ability to travel very quickly, so I almost
Yeah.
wonder if by the time Ida and Damon and Amano get back there, if Code has already done the damage, or exactly who's going to strike first.
I guess that's anyone's guess at this point.
Yeah. Back to your point, Jason, about like how Code hasn't been like we have no reason to fear Code.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have done this already. Um, but they could like do this and going forward to like actually make him a formidable villain. Is I feel like he needs to kill one of the original Konoha 11.
Oh well, true, and we know that his well, okay, we'll go into who we hope dies, and but well, yeah, let's go into that first. I'll see if I can remember my point later, but we know Code's mission is to get the chakra fruit. So at this point, does he still need to gather tailed beast chakra, or does he just need to feed a vessel to the 10 tails? Do we know?
I think he just has to feed a vessel.
Okay. Because I was going to say, like, if he still has to get chakra from other villages and stuff, it'd be interesting to see him go attack other villages, and that, A, give us a chance to see how other people have developed since the war. Possibly get to see some side characters, and also it gives Code a chance to kind of flex his muscles. But they could absolutely keep that contained and have Code, yeah, kill one of the Konoha 11.
Do we think that Sasuke is gonna die? Are we still riding that train?
Oh boy. You know what? I could see him dying by the end of the series. I feel like if it happened right now, it would kind of not have the emotional impact, but I don't know. If Code gets there and starts to fight with Sarada, and then Sasuke intervenes and takes a fatal hit to save his daughter, I think that would be pretty climactic and great for his story arc. That'd be a great.
After trying to throw Sakura in front of her.
Yeah, using his usual
One
shield.
last diss at Sakura.
Yeah, I love how Sasuke would rather use Sakura than Susanoo. Which, by the way, we haven't gotten any Susanoo, have we? In all of
We
Boruto.
haven't.
I this might be something I brought up in a previous discussion, but I love the idea of Sasuke like developing Susanoo and condensing it to almost just being like samurai armor over him, like human size. I think that'd be just like highly condensed chakra.
Yeah, I think that would be a better like foil, I guess, to Naruto's Sage mode, or not Sage mode, but his Chakra mode.
Mm-hmm.
That his body actually takes on a transformation.
Yeah, because I mean, now that we've officially nerfed Sasuke and Naruto, Sasuke doesn't have his Rinnegan anymore, so ideally he could be still just as powerful as he was at the end of the arc before he got them powers.
Oh, sorry. Like you just said, nerf, and I think. Wait, Todd, did you do a pitch on this about how Damon's power was nerfed?
No, I think if it's the one I'm thinking of, that was Francesco.
Was that Francesco? Yeah, because I
Yeah.
remember seeing it. Like I remember when I was going through, like after I read the chapter, I was going through like the comments, and a lot of people were like, "Oh man, he nerfed Damon," and I actually didn't remember that point because apparently, like in this chapter, let's see if I got it right because I never looked into it or anything, and I never really focused on it. But like in this chapter, it's saying that he has to be holding on to the person or touching the person to affect them.
I think he
Like,
has to just
earlier
touch
on-
them with his hands.
Yeah,
And I
and
think he just has to be touching somebody.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And then before he wasn't touching anyone, and he was still able to affect whoever it was. I don't even remember the moment they're talking about because I never focused on it. I was just like, "Where's Aida?"
Well, I think I know what they meant. Back when Damon first like got awakened, there was just like half a dozen soldiers or something, and they ended up like dispatching an entire hallway of soldiers like in the blink of an eye. And yeah, it's actually Bug like explains that as long as he touches somebody with here, I'm trying to get to the page specifically. Yeah, while they're going into attack, the old man who is this poor old guy has just been stuck in this scientific facility trapped by Ada's powers for years. He knows the trick to defeating Damon. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's only when he's touching others with his hands that actions get reflected. So it is unclear if he necessarily has to be touching them for it to happen. But yeah, I'd have to go back. It was dozens of chapters ago.
Oh, so apparently, yeah, I'm just reading the comments. So apparently, he reflected Kawaki's blast while sleeping, and didn't have a palm on him. That was the first thing. Like, so he was able to
Okay.
do it while he was sleeping, but then someone else is like, they didn't nerf him. Let's see. I'll give this person credit, Mr. Carmaxic, on the Viz website, on the app. They're saying that the ability is that he has to be touching someone for his ability to work. It isn't explicitly state it has to be the person that he's attacking.
Okay. It's only when he's touching others with his hands.
So he
So
has to be
yeah,
touching someone.
that
But was he
is.
touching anyone when he was sleeping? Like, was he touching himself? Excuse my double entendre there. But like, was he touching anything?
Well, yeah. If it's the chance that they even like use the flashback panel in this chapter, when Code like pulled him out of his head, um, he's yeah, I don't know, he's like kind of touching Code's head, I guess, enough to count. But yeah, it is one of those things where you're like, did they plan that, or did they just randomly like, okay, let's just throw that in there so he's not completely invincible? Because yeah, I'd have to go back when he took out those soldiers when they first awakened. Because I mean, he would have need to have touched them first, right? According to this, or just
Yeah,
touching
or
anybody.
touching something. Yeah,
But yeah,
I'm trying
if he's able to touch himself,
to.
for it to work, then yeah, I mean that's still pretty drastically OP. But I just love even without his power, he's almost got Ultra Instinct. Like he codes appearing above him, under him, and zipping all over the place, and Damon is still getting the better of him almost every step of the way. So I would love to see. Oh man, just imagine Rock Lee versus Damon.
Mm.
That'd be fun.
Man, I'm trying to see. It's somewhere in the 50s because that's where they first appear. I'm just going through it now.
Okay. Yeah, it was a little while ago, but well, yeah. So we kind of, I think Todd, you were coming up with the idea if one of the Konoha 11 had to die, which would do we think it would need to be?
Mhm.
Who would be the
Man,
most
don't. All
dramatic?
right, I wasn't ready for that.
Well, tactically, I would think Ino.
Yes, because we've been singing the Shikamaru lately. Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I can't let my boy Shikimaru go
I
down.
was, I was gonna say because like from what we've seen before, I know I said they should have established this before, but unfortunately, before he's only really come into contact with Shikamaru, so it would have been Shikamaru. But
Yeah, and he did kind of
that didn't
casually
happen.
say, "Hey, you're on my list," as he was
Yeah,
disappearing.
yeah. Um, but as for like who they could kill, I don't know. Shino, I don't want Kiba to die. I don't want any of them to die. But I
Yeah.
feel like Shino or Kiba, they could like die without having like too big an impact on the rest of the story.
Well, I mean, Shino is the teacher of like all the kids right
The
now.
Ninja Academy, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be a pretty big blow. But yeah, I see the only one that I see really having the chance on Code's hit list is Shikimaru. But I mean, I think he's devoted to Kawaki a lot like Ida right now. Um, I almost see him just. I know that's kind of the thing with his ability is he could just next chapter be in Konoha and this battle could just instantly kick off again, which I don't know. It's kind of a complaint about the pacing of this series. Once you have a character that's able to just teleport all over the world with his ability, like it just means that the action can just pick up immediately and um, yeah. So I mean, it all could just explode next chapter. I'm not sure, but we need a reason to fear Code.
Oh,
Where
he's sitting. So he's sitting. Yeah, he's sitting. He's actually writing code, like piggyback style. So he's definitely touching code when he attacks the guys.
Oh, maybe that's why he's all into the piggyback. Because he seems to love piggybacking any chance he gets.
Yeah, he called Amado a fine ride or something like that.
Yeah, which is a really weird line. I still feel really uncomfortable every time I read that. Um, as far as like, I'm blown away that Amando was able to create such powerful cyborgs. I mean,
Yeah,
Damon was established to be way stronger than Code right now, and he's even saying, "Oh, you're stronger than Jigen." And it's just like, how did he make these so? Why did he make these so strong? How are they so strong?
because they have the ninja net.
Oh, okay, never mind. I forgot.
So it's all because of the ninja net now.
He just found the program on the Ninja Net. Never mind. I didn't think about that.
I can never forget about the ninja net.
We are the Ninja Net.
Mhm.
But does this chapter disprove our theory of Ida and Damon being Amado's children? Because I almost feel like this would have been
Dude,
the moment for him to bring it up.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know anymore. I was riding that theory so hard, but I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I think that would have been great though, because like if she got in like some accident and this is the way he saved her, that would be pretty intense. I would have loved that, but you know,
Hmm.
like it was one of those things I never even thought of. But when you mentioned it, it's like, ooh, that would be nice.
Uh,
Like any image of a parent experimenting on their children is pretty intense.
Yeah.
So
right, right. Um, well, I feel like it could still be a possibility. I mean, even at one point, uh, she's expressing that she's beginning to get more curious about Amato and his story. And he was saying, like, okay, well, it's a long story, so how about we wait till we get to Konoha first? I
I
feel
love
like we
that.
could still get that reveal
Hey,
if it's a thing.
watch it be something along the lines of like Ada is out here searching for true love, and but like she doesn't remember that like Amado's her father. So then what if like that's the like it's not about the journey, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But in the sense of like, oh, I'm not looking for true love from a lover, I'm looking for true love in like that parent child relationship. If that makes any sense.
Oh man, she clearly seems like a girl with daddy issues. So I think you're right.
So
Um,
it
Okay,
could end
so
up being
so
something like
there's
that. I don't know.
so sorry to interrupt this, but so it looks like later on, if you so the first time, Damon is piggybacking on Code and the attacks, but later on in chapter 59, he gets off of Code's shoulders. He kicks a guy in the face. The guy falls down and is about to get up, and then all of a sudden his head just pops off. But Damon isn't touching anyone.
so
So
yeah,
at the very so it's the very end. I don't, if you want to see yourselves,
What
it's
chapter is that?
it's chapter 59.
okay.
The spread 36-37, or actually, but 36-37 leading into 39,
Oh yeah, so
where
just
the
around there.
head falls off. Yeah.
So
But like
yeah,
you
I
can clearly
almost
see, like he kicks the guy's on the ground, and he gets up, and he's not being touched, and then his head just pops off.
so yeah, I think I can agree with complaints that it sounds like a nerf. It sounds like they were like, oh no, we made this David character too ridiculous, and they thought of a way that they want to beat him in the future, and they're like, well, the only way we can make this work is if he's, that's how they beat him by taking advantage of that. But that's if we're gonna end up having to fight him, because I don't know if Ida and company get to Konoha and want to live happily ever after. I I just don't see that happening story beat wise. As fun as that would be, but I don't know what's going to mess that up because it sounds like a pretty good plan.
Wait, what plan? I'm sorry, I was still reading the chapter 59. Sorry.
Oh well, the whole plan for them just to like move into Konoha and just
Oh,
they're not being in problems and they just adapt into it and Ida and Kawaki try dating and it just doesn't work out. And
Then the series ends.
then the series
I'm
ends.
not gonna lie. I would be completely fine if this just turned into a romance.
Yeah.
I need more. But yeah, like another reason why Francesco should be here is because he like so I did my like story about how there's not enough romance in Boruto, and then Francesco did a story. It's like
How it's
Boruto is
ruining it.
turning, yeah, it's like Boruto is turning into a romance, and that's a bad thing. So it's like we
I,
need.
I think that I saw that one. Yep.
Yeah, I reached out to him. I'm not sure if he had something going on or what, but yeah, I think that would have been a fun dynamic to hear you guys talk about the merits of both on
Yeah,
it.
because like probably our one of our best discussions was for Dragon Ball Super when we were talking about um the how Bardock is being portrayed, if he's being portrayed like too sissy wise, or if he's actually like not that way. And like we like completely disagreed, so we're able to go all out on that. But that was the last time I was on the same podcast with him.
Well, yeah, hopefully we can get some other guests, especially. I mean, I know Burrito is on break next month, but yeah, we're hoping to get some extra voices on some of the podcasts, and hopefully we can have some good, fun arguments about, especially where the series is going after this, because I almost feel like if we did start to focus on romance, especially with these new characters. Well, then again, I was gonna say if we it would distract too much from our main characters, but I also would love it if they started, getting a little bit more dramatic with like Boruto and Sarada's relationship, um,
Mm, yeah.
and just start like kind of building up on that a little bit because I feel like um, Naruto the series had such a bad rep for sidestepping all of their side characters, and Boruto is kind of doing the same thing. Honestly, like we have barely had really any solid time with Sarada, especially Mitsuki in the manga. I know in the anime they
Yeah.
both get a lot more time to shine, but
Mitsuki was teased having. I don't know if they did this in the like just a chapter by chapter, but I know in volume one it ended with Mitsuki having a sage mode,
yeah, and I know that's been very prominent
and it's
in the
never been brought
anime.
up again.
All right. They bring it up in the anime quite often, and I am quite behind on the anime, but I've seen a good amount of stills about it, and yeah, Mitsuki has like mastered the Sage mode that Orochimaru was never able to do, and even Kabuto at the end of the series didn't necessarily perfect it because it did change his appearance, and I think that was kind of the determination if you were able to master Sage mode versus uh, the chakra like ruining your body,
Yeah,
essentially. And yeah, Misaki has like demonstrated that he can very easily go into snake mode versus being just regular old kid version him. So yeah, again, I would love more of that. Also, there's a lot of stuff in the Boruto anime of how Mitsuki is like obsessed with Boruto, almost to a romantic level. If we had a love triangle with the new Team Seven, that would be a compelling story as well. I
too
don't.
romancy, not enough ninja.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
mean, like, yeah, and then there was also the interesting thing that they seems like they're skipping over with Sumire.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Where like Sumire was like possibly throwing Naruto under the bus for allowing or being fine with Kawaki um, killing Boruto just because Naruto was already on tough ground with the village, um, and that like any bad news about him, especially in regards to Kawaki, which since no one trusts him, like that could have like been his downfall or the beginning of his downfall, but they didn't go with that.
Well, yeah, if we started getting political with Naruto on how the politics of Konoha operate, um, but I mean, even back when the Naruto series was going on, we only got a very small glimpse of what the political spectrum of Konoha was like, and it was just essentially like the that old couple, and that was about it, and the Hokage and the Shadow Kage.
And
Um,
all of the and all the papers that they had to stamp.
Yeah, yeah, which is something I've always like had a hard time wrapping my head around. It's just like, what in the hell
Yeah.
requires that much
Politics
paperwork?
is so loose in Naruto that all it takes is two ninja going on an adventure to find the next president.
Yeah. Oh boy, if times were so simple. um, so yeah, I again that would be another thing that would be interesting with the storytelling is if we got deep into the political agenda of Konoha and stuff. And I feel like that's something that the original series it only dabbled in, but it did really well with the implications of like the Shadow Kage and Danzo behind the scenes and
Yeah.
all that stuff. And I just don't see Boruto doing that.
Yeah, I mean, just like the whole background with the Uchiha, and how
Mhm.
that was done, that was like what you were just saying. Like that would be great to see something like that in real time, in the present day. Like you said, unlikely.
Yeah, they definitely don't bring up genocide as in Boruto as much as they did in Naruto. And yeah, so far this series hasn't really gotten that dark. I mean, I guess with the cultivation of like Kawaki and the failed vessels, that's about as dark as it's gotten. But I don't know. Maybe that's what we need from Code. We need Code to be the bad guy, and so far he's just been, for me anyway, the whiny kid who, yeah, he's just been whining about like, oh, I need to get my powers unlocked, and
My limiters.
oh no, my limiters. And once those got unchecked, and now he's complaining about Ida, and he just always has something to complain about.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious. I mean, especially with Damon just telling him like, "Oh, you should be able to take Naruto and the Uchiha down pretty well." So he almost is giving him the confidence that he could just rush into Konoha and take things down. Um, but I guess his main goal to get the chakra fruit is the vessel. We kind of came up with this alternative way to unlock the chakra fruit instead of the traditional way that we learned in Naruto of getting all the tailed beast chakras and whatnot. So yeah, I'm curious to see if Code's going to jump right to Konoha or if he's going to further prepare and do something scary. What would you guys like to see happen next?
I'd actually like to see him go to one of the other or any of the other villages.
Mm-hmm.
See, so we could see what's going on there. 'Cause
Yeah,
that was part of like the appeal of Naruto. I feel like was that like the world of Naruto felt so alive, even though like we saw very little of like all the other villages. It still felt like it was a living, breathing world. Um, but with this, I don't know. It's not hitting the same. So I feel like that would be
right.
nice to breathe life into like these areas we know that are out there, but we just don't know what's going on in them.
Yeah, because it's something that they've even like kind of teased. I think it was a chapter or two ago, but Shikimaru is talking about we have the other villages to consider with their whole stance on housing Kawaki and Naruto being an Akatsuki. Um, or did I say Naruto or Boruto?
Yeah, you mean Boruto?
Yeah, Boruto. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, I feel like, especially in the last couple arcs, it's just been so focused on just Konoha drama. And especially, with the main series ending on the war arc, um, we're just ignoring all those other villages. And I would love to see how Gara's town's doing now that he's been in charge for a long time. I would love to see more Killer Bee and all that stuff. So yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
it'd be
the world's rich.
interesting to see. Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to find out that like there's another village that's got some Otsutsuki shenanigans going on.
That's literally hidden because all these villages are the village hidden in the clouds or the village hidden in the
Yeah,
rain. Just like, man, these aren't that hidden. They're right there. You can see it.
yeah.
You guys
Like I
literally
get like
have a Mount Rushmore above your village. This is not hidden.
when I first got into Naruto, I thought that was one of the coolest aspects of everything. With everything was like hidden leaf village, hidden sand village, hidden cloud. I was like, oh wow, it's ninjas. Little
Yeah.
10-year-old Todd. Go ahead, Steven.
No, I was just gonna say I've been while you guys have been talking, chatting to Francesco, like trying to get him in here, but he's really busy with writing. Oh wait. Okay. I have a quote for him. If I wanted to read a romance manga, I would have picked up something from Masakatsu Katsura. Let's see what else he's gonna say. He's typing something else. Or Boruto was a bad shonen and it's an even worse shoujo.
Oh boy. That's an opinion. um, yeah, I mean, I see his point too, but it'll just matter if it's they're doing all this like from relationship drama squabble to have some sort of payoff later, and it'll be determined if the payoff is worth it or not. But they haven't fully lost me. I mean, I love the Naruto series so much, and I've definitely acknowledged the Boruto series as a different thing. And I'm if I don't like where it goes and where it ends, I'm 100% willing to say, okay, this is like the GT of Naruto. Like that had some cool stuff, but it's not really canon. It just there.
It just kind of, yeah.
Well, funny, like talking about Naruto and how this isn't living up to it. It's for the past couple of days, and actually right before I came on here, when I was writing, I've been just listening to the Naruto soundtrack.
Oh hell yeah.
From the anime. Like that's what I've just been doing for the past few days, except when I'm writing about Berserk, I'm listening to the Guts theme. But
right.
but lately I've been doing a lot of the Naruto anime soundtrack, which is amazing. But
yeah,
yeah,
honestly,
I mean,
just real quick, yeah, if you go to Google and just Naruto motivational or Naruto inspirational, there's like hours long playlists of like some of the best Naruto music. It's very good writing music.
The OST from Ultimate Ninja Storm 3 is one of the best video game OSTs of all time.
Ooh, awesome.
But yeah, that or like I just listen. I usually listen on Spotify, and there's a public playlist, Naruto openings and endings by Joe Rudder. This one has like 85 songs, so over 5 hours. But yeah, like I forgot how great like the soundtrack is. I remember like the only like one of my favorites is that song by No Regret Life. It was one of the endings, but that was one of my favorite songs. But yeah, anyway, back to Boruto. Like I mean, I'd say yeah.
Just
we are fighting a dreamer.
Yeah, we couldn't talk Naruto music without saying those two words together. So proceed.
But yeah, no, I mean, but like with Boruto, like I'm actually like again, if I'm under Aida's spell, like I'm completely fine where this is going. Like I said, I just didn't find the whole code switch turn, whatever you want to call it. Like it wasn't convincing and little too out of left field. But where it's headed, I'm really happy. Just because I've been excited for a while for Aida to finally meet Kawaki, just because it's been so built up, and just thing after thing keeps on getting in the way. Like the whole fight where Boruto ostensibly dies. Like I was like, why are you fighting? Right. You're supposed to be seeing Aida right now. Stop fighting.
They're distracted. Go, Aida. I kind of would love it, and it would I almost feel like it would be an Oda move if they get there and then she's just like, oh, well, he's not really my type. I don't like black hair. I like blonde.
Well, I mean, Kawaki technically has blonde hair too.
Oh, a little bit, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess you can call that blonde.
Speaking of hair, from Chainsaw Man, because you made that a comment the other day, Jason. Her hair, Power's hair, actually is blonde. It was the whole pink thing was a misconception that happened, just based on like one of like the art spreads.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
like where it's like her hair was just there was some like pink hues to it, and just everyone just went wild with it.
Oh, okay.
And that's why it's been said. Like I had to like look into it. Like there's all these people like, what color is her hair type of deal. But
okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, we're a bunch of Chainsaw Man fans on this podcast, and anxiously awaiting that manga to continue. So, yeah, I anything else about Boruto Chapter 71 or what you hope will happen next?
You want to go, Todd? I mean, I just want to see.
I don't know. I gotta say, like, I thought the build up in the past few chapters was like pretty good, and it was going up to something. But then I just felt this one, for me, this is just my personal thoughts. This chapter was a bit of a letdown, just with seeing how Code was like supposed to be super powerful, and then he gets bodied by a kid, and then the whole thing that Damon's even more powerful than Naruto and Sasuke. I was just like, and with Code being like, meh. I don't know. This chapter was a bit disappointing to me, but that being said, like, I'm still excited to see what happens next. I'm gonna keep up with it, and I'm hoping for the best.
We're just gonna have to wait for 2 months to see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a great point too. I mean, if you think on like what we were supposed to see in this chapter, I mean, we're supposed to have two characters that are the strongest this world has ever seen, and they got to do a fight, and one got hit a lot, but still, it was all just like very self-contained into this one little room. Like, for how big they're talking these villains up to be and how powerful they are, this all just felt really underwhelming. I'd say even on Damon's part too. I mean, he definitely countered everything Kawaki threw at him with speed and power, but I almost want, like, if he punches Kawaki, I almost want him to go through a couple walls, like, instead of like just, break some tile and, cause some damage to the floor. Like,
it's either they're holding back or these are some insane walls.
Yeah.
It's because of the ninja net, man.
Always the ninja net.
They're all enforced by the ninja net.
One thing I will say though, which I think is fuel to the fire of the Hidan coming back theory, was Shikamaru in this chapter. He specifically brought up Damon, and there was another cyborg, and then it showed Damon.
Well, I think because once they fought and he pulled Damon out, he was fighting Kawaki, right? That's why he pulled Damon out?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I think especially once they get Kawaki in and like can coordinate with Kawaki, I'm like, okay, so what happened? He's like, well, I attacked him and it went right back to me. That's all they needed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be great. That's actually something I think the anime even like dabbled with. And there's so many bad stories that I've heard they've done in the Boruto anime, but there's just a couple seasonings of like really interesting plot points that they've done. And one of them I heard was like Asuna's daughter is like a Jonin now, and she apparently fought somebody who like idolized Hidan. And,
that's canon. That's canon. Yeah,
okay.
That's a Kishimoto wrote that. It's a light novel.
Oh, cool!
If I understand the usage of light novel.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean that kind of stuff sounds really interesting. They could still like kind of bring that in, but I almost feel like at this point, chapter 71 of Boruto, if they just like brought her into the fold, it would just feel so like unwarranted. Like we haven't even brought them up in this manga. So I mean, it's just they've paid so little attention to all the other people in Konoha that at this point it would just feel like kind of random for them to implement them into the story and be a major player. I think especially if they brought Hidan back, because that's just so far into the past. Would I love it? Yes, but I'm just not sure if they're gonna pull from the rich, lore of Naruto to solve a problem. I think they're just only going to be using new characters and new powers to solve these things. Just because they have
opportunity, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, a lot of major missed opportunities, and I think in our previous discussions too, we're talking about all the missed opportunities on what filler arcs could have been like. Like, there's so many story arcs that we wish we could have seen in the series that would have been great filler arcs, but they just decided to. Well, what happens when Rock Lee gets really spicy curry? And you're like, no, I don't care. I want to know how the second Hokage died. I want to see how, the other villages handled post-war. Like, I want to see Naruto, be a ninja before Hokage. Like, there's so many things.
That's actually like one of the things that was a major turnout. I didn't get into Boruto for a while. Just because, like, there was this too many similarities, like in a bad way to Naruto. Like it had to be in Konoha. Like it's like
Yeah.
why? Let's go to a different village. Let's explore. Their, rather than
Yeah,
seeing all the kids going through the same schools and all the same courses as Naruto did. It's like let's see how another village like raises its Jonin or Chunin
yeah. You
exams and things
you
like
know what would
that.
have
Like
been
that would be
interesting?
cool. Yeah.
It would have been interesting if, like, after have Boruto start the way it did, but then after he got caught cheating in the tuning exams, he gets sent to another village.
Oh, that would be
Hmm.
cool.
That would have been something interesting to see.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would have been cool with that. I definitely would have also been cool with like if we just followed another student growing up in another village, um,
yeah.
who was possibly in line to be the next Jinchuriki or something.
Yeah,
But I've also said in previous discussions, like I feel like the way Naruto ended, especially with the war arc, all the villages coming together to defeat, the major enemy. It's essentially the idea of like accomplishing world peace is kind of the thing they dabbled with. And then after the war, they just go right back to it, and they're like, "All right, let's keep on training our children to be soldiers. We're still,
that's what Sasuke said in the final battle. He said the only reason they're all allied is because of the common enemy,
yeah."
and then eventually it's going to revert back to the way it was.
I do like that aspect,
You
but that's
like
just
that
me.
that has happened? They didn't all just world
Yeah,
peace.
yeah, yeah. Like it just kind of seems like a realistic thing. Like everyone, not to get into specifics in real world stuff, but I mean, you see it all the time. Like something major happens, and it's like we're all gonna work together and do it, but it's just all talk in the end. It's just very, very realistic. Kind of dark, but I do
Yeah.
like that aspect. Like it's like, oh, I mean, it would be great if they all got together, but it's like, nope, things just return back to normal. Everything's horrible. Like,
Yeah,
or just
yeah.
the
I guess
same
I
old,
wanted
same old thing.
the optimist in my brain to be like, yeah, this the whole story is about understanding one another and talking out the differences rather than murdering each other. Was I was hoping what they came to at the end of the story, but yeah, go with the more realistic, more
We're
realistic
dreaming
outcome.
shy.
Unfortunately,
Yeah. Um, Well, yeah, I think that'll about wrap up this episode of Mega Manga Mondays for Boruto Chapter 71. I am Jason Hahn, and please check out Mega Manga Mondays on Twitter at M Manga Mondays, and reach out to us with any things you disagree with or agree with us on, and be happy to hear from you. Also, check out ScreenRant.com for video game news, comic news, and movie news. These guys I'm talking with do some great, very introspective articles on all kinds of different comics and mangas that they care deeply about. With with Berserk and Chainsaw Man coming back, expect a whole lot because we all love those series, and I'm sure we'll have a lot of interesting stuff to say about them. So definitely check that out. And one last plug from me too is I have a YouTube channel called Honzy and Friends. Do a lot of streaming on there. Try to stream every Wednesday and Sunday. But check that out. Subscribe. Do some funny Let's Play videos every once in a while too. So yeah, if you like video games and comedy, check that out. But Steven, any recommendations or plug, bud?
Yeah, I mean, before going into Berserk, I mean, I'll just say because we were talking about Naruto and rom-coms, there's a great manga that I read a while ago, and I stopped because it's not released. Like it's only fan created. Like the translations are only fan made because it's an obscure manga, and so it's very you don't get updates that often. But basically, there's a series called Inside Tsubaki Kunoichi's Heart. So Inside Tsubaki Kunoichi's Heart is basically Naruto, but all rom-com. It's basically like a very similar type of setting, all ninjas. They have like the same type of jutsus where they can, you know, like the sexy jutsu type of deal, or the way they throw their kunai around is very, very similar, but it's just all romance. I highly recommend anyone who likes Naruto and wants more of that cuddly love stuff. Check that out. but yeah, just very excited that Berserk is starting up again. Never thought that would happen, especially so soon.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would just say without giving anything up. I mean, they just released the 2 chapters simultaneously. I'm continuing after Kentaro Miura's death, and I will say without giving anything away, the art is so on point. I mean,
good.
I know there.
I know it's a big concern.
You could definitely see there's moments where it's like, oh, that's not, I don't see Kentaro as much, but you can see that the style is there and they are working very hard to make sure that they capture it. Like, again, there's some moments where it's like, oh, that's a little different, but you can tell they're really focusing on that. And you do get the same feel when you're reading it. It just seems like this might actually be more or more consistent type of releases, and they'll all be shorter. So it'll kind of be like a if the latest 2 chapters are any indication, they'll be like the stereotypical, even though it's a sign-in, but it's like a shonen chapter where it's like 19 pages or less.
Oh man,
that's what it seems like.
I can't believe.
But yeah, but it'll be more consistent.
Oh man, I was gonna bring that up.
Like,
I was just like, it's so good to hear that the quality is what you're hoping for, and just the idea that we're gonna be getting like consistent Berserk. Like,
yeah, because I know the next chapter comes out in 2 weeks, so I mean it might be like a 2 week type of thing, not even a month.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah, it's like, I mean, there will always be people who are upset. I was reading the comments, and there's like it's like this is horror. Doesn't look anything the same. It's like, dude, it does. It looks so good. Like, you'll find moments where it's like, oh, that doesn't really look like that's something that Kentaro would have drawn, but the style is there, and there's many points I will say where you can't tell the difference. You really can't.
Oh yeah,
there's just very obscure moments. But
I was expecting some of it to at least look a little bit different, but yeah, people need to realize like we're very lucky to be getting any more Berserk, and that's definitely something Kentaro Miura would, he probably wouldn't appreciate you talking trash on the people who are doing this for us, like. So be kind on the ninja net. There's not enough kindness on the ninja net, so find a way to enjoy things, everybody. But speaking of enjoying Berserk, it's not on Shonen Jump, unfortunately.
Oh well, because it's a sign-in. Yeah, it's
how would you recommend people read it? Just Google it.
Google. Well, the official is to go through Dark Horse Comics, because that's the English translation. That's the official English translation. So it's released by Dark Horse Comics for U.S. and English. The main the actual publisher is Young Animal.
Right.
Yeah, which is a very sign-in-esque publication. But yeah, the official is to go through Dark Horse Comics. But of course, there's other ways to read it, but I'm not going to.
Yes, do the official ways if possible, because it supports the crews behind the actual works. So it all helps. Put the money towards the artists that make all this great stuff for us, because they deserve it. But
agreed.
Yeah, Todd, any recommendations or plugs, buddy?
Yeah, well, now I gotta go read all of Berserk now.
You're in for a treat.
What a journey! What a journey!
Oh man, imagine getting to do that again, Steven.
In my last semester at college, I lived with my friend who absolutely adored Berserk and was so upset when the author died. And then he even was like, "Yo, write about Berserk coming back," and I was like, it's already been taken, or else I would have. And then I was like, I know nothing about it, so I'm not the right person to write about it.
Well, I will say this, like, about your friend. I don't know if he does the same thing, but I don't know how many times I've made people sit down and watch the first episode of the anime. Like,
he told me not to watch the anime.
Yeah.
You mean the '90s one?
The '90s is beautiful.
The movie,
whichever one is like 3D animated.
Yeah. That's watch that. We haven't watched that. No. No.
Yeah.
But like no, but like for the original 1997 or 90s anime, like I've sat so many people down. Like if anyone came over for whatever reason, it's like you're gonna sit down on this couch, we're gonna turn this on, and you're gonna watch it.
Yeah. Well, those all are on YouTube to watch for free, dubbed and subbed.
Sweet.
I almost think it's an official like release too, because they have them all on there on great quality. But that's the original animated Berserk series from the 90s. I actually became a Berserk fan by watching the 3D movies.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think those get a lot more crap than they deserve. They're definitely better than the new fully CG anime that they put out of like 2 seasons of. I think the 3 Golden Age arc films that are all on Netflix get progressively better. There's a few shoddy parts, animation wise, in the first one definitely, but I think it successfully tells the story of Berserk, and it managed to make me a fan. So we've given people all kinds of ways to enjoy Berserk. Please get into it.
And I'll just say one thing really quick, and then I'll say like there is one scene in the movie like during the Golden Age. Trying not to give stuff away, but it's maybe I'll talk about it when it's just you and me, Jason, for whatever reason.
Yeah, sure. We'll definitely be doing Berserk chats. So.
Yeah, but there's one scene that the movie did really well that wasn't in the anime, the original 90s anime, and I think that was actually one of my favorite moments. So I think you're right. It does get a lot of crap that most of it's deserved, but at the same time there is there's very good intense moments that they did a great job with. So
yeah, I think so. But yeah, Todd, you said you need to get caught up on Berserk. Was there anything else you wanted to recommend?
Get caught up on Berserk, but yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Todd the Writer 21. It's all just one single blurb. I usually, every time I have a article published on Screen Rant, I've been very bad about keeping up with it, but I try to post about it on my Twitter. And if for whatever reason you ever find yourself in Georgetown, Delaware at the arenas, I can make you a banging Orange Crush. Only if you're 21 and over, though.
Yes. Or Orange Crush, not the soda, an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
And also too, Todd is going to be writing up. I saw your pitch, a really awesome Pokemon pitch. I see that it got accepted. It got accepted, and I'm very excited. So look out for that for that one, because you can never get enough Pokemon, and it's a great
Thank you, Steven.
Well, yeah, check that out on screenrant.com, because that will most likely be up by the time this episode's out. I'll probably be having this come out. Well, I might have it come out tomorrow. We'll see. But check out our works on Screen Rant, all kinds of interesting things. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode of Mega Manga Monday. It's been a lot of fun talking Boruto with you guys. As I said, it's on break next month. So we'll be taking a little time off, but feel free to check out other episodes of Mega Manga Monday to hear our sultry tones. But thanks. Been a lot of fun today, guys, and I hope you have a good one.
Yeah, definitely. You too. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. You too. See ya.